Okay, welcome into another edition of Skers Scoop. Today we're going to be, giving our predictions here on the 2026 Nebraska football schedule. So, each of us gave our picks through each game, and we're just going to kind of go through it. So, guys, we'll get started here with Ohio. I don't really think we need to spend too much time, but Brody, I know you have a really good point on this one, so I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah, so my big thing here is, surely we're going to walk away with the W, of course, but you come into this game, you win like a measly 28-21, and the fans are kind of like, oh, like that's kind of turns them away. And I don't like being that guy, but it's almost like if you don't start the season off right, why would the fans show up to the Bowling Green, the North Dakota game? Like what is so enticing about that for them to show up? And I think if there was a year for, this amazing zealotry to go away, this year it is in jeopardy, and they need to blow out Ohio week 1, or there's going to be some scares.
Okay, that's valid. I agree. I definitely think it's one of those things that Nebraska fans are you're seeing right now, like on social media, that people are just tired of hearing almost, it seems like anything that Matt Rule says. Like, I think he just went on the Fernet Sports podcast maybe like yesterday or the day before that. And people, just fans are really down and out kind of on him and the program in general. So, it is what it is, right? Like, it's year 4. You need to step up. You need to win games that you should. You probably need to win a game that you shouldn't win at some point as well. So, I don't know. Bowling Green here, we were talking about that. You, Brody, you had the good point on that. Nebraska actually replaced Bowling Green with Tennessee in the non-con for, this year. I think it was a 2-year deal with Tennessee at home and home. So that was met with some controversy when that news broke. But I don't know. That's obviously a game you need to win. Both of those are at home, and then you get North Dakota. So Elliot, I know you had a good point about North Dakota. So maybe just give us a little bit on that if you're worried at all.
Yeah, I'm not particular. It's a Dakota team, and any of those Dakota teams are going to be good. Pretty sure North Dakota State's moving up to, power 4, not power 4, but they're moving up out of FCS now. So, those teams are, always going to be a hard game. And last year they played Rutgers week 1. And they lost that game only by 3. It was 34-31. Granted, Rutgers, isn't a top team in the Big Ten, but now there's Nebraska. So definitely it's kind of sad. And I said this before that we're, really diving into some of these non-con games when, these are supposed to be your, preseason games that you're just warming up and getting the team ready for the, the Big Ten schedule. But, I think we can easily get the 3 wins, but it is, concerning, with, what Brody was saying and, kind of some uncertainties on the team a little bit in some areas still. So.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, here, Will, why don't you go ahead and break down Michigan State here? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I have a starting 3-0, as we all should, but I really don't like this Michigan State game as our first Big Ten opponent in an away environment. East Lansing will always be rocking. They just got a brand new head coach who has a historically decent track record. And I just don't like this as an opening opponent for Nebraska. I think that they have a tough defense for Anthony Calandria's first, assuming Calandria is the starter for Nebraska going into next year. I just think this is not a great start for him in Big Ten play, and I want to be optimistic, but I can't willingly say that we're going to win that game in East Lansing.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought for Nebraska, but I think it plays to a benefit now that obviously we kind of gotten out of the season opener being a Big Ten game, which is great for Nebraska, obviously not having that and getting 3 tune-up games beforehand. But obviously Pat Fitzgerald knows what he's doing. He's been around the Big Ten for forever. And, he could turn that program around at some point. So I don't know. Is anybody, I guess it looks like everyone else kind of picked wins here, I'm assuming. But there's reason, Will, for sure to feel scared about that. So moving into who do we got? Maryland here. Is everyone a win?
Yeah.
Win. Okay, that's good. It's so that Maryland game, we're on the road, correct?
No, it's our Big Ten home.
No, that's at home. Sorry, that is at home. Okay, yeah. So this is a big spot for Nebraska. If they do lose, obviously they absolutely need to get a win. But regardless, anyway, this is a winnable game, and you need to you need to win it, right? They had a close game on the road there last year that they had to come back and win in the fourth quarter, and it was kind of ugly, but it maybe brought up a little bit of momentum for Nebraska at the time. And then I think right after that was that Minnesota letdown, sadly. But regardless, you got to keep winning against those bottom of the barrel teams in the Big Ten to prove that you're not one of those bottom of the barrel teams in the Big Ten. So if anybody else has any thoughts on that, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say something. I mean, looking at last year's matchup in Maryland, Raiola threw 3 interceptions that game, and we still found a way to win. And if you were to ask me personally, I think Nebraska improved at quarterback this offseason, and it being at home, I find it hard to think that we're going to lose this game.
Yeah.
Can I interrupt you real quick? I have a question for you guys because this is a good talking point. Will just said he thinks they upgraded at quarterback. Do you think it's more to do with how the offense is going to look around the quarterback? Like, I'm assuming that's the question versus you're not just saying that Dylan Raiola here is to Anthony Colandrea or better or whatever. So is that how we feel? Like, we just think the offense is going to operate better with a mobile quarterback?
Yeah, I'll clarify what I meant by that. I do believe that Dylan Raiola is a great quarterback and that he could definitely go to the NFL. But speaking for Nebraska's offensive system, we've always been a school that's been historically good with a mobile quarterback. I mean, we failed 2 a.m., but Tommy Armstrong, Taylor Martinez, I could keep going. Anytime Nebraska's been great, they've had a mobile quarterback, and I think Colandrea can fill those shoes in.
100%. Yeah. I think Dana is going to absolutely love having Colandrea at quarterback too. I don't think he really cared for Dylan because most of those play calls he had with Dylan just were not great. I watched way too many RPO QB draws against USC with Dylan. So,
yeah, to add on to that, just schematically, it's going to be better just because to the RPO point, it's a run pass option, but you also have that threat where Art Colandrea can either hand it off, but he could also keep it and run it himself because is that option to throw it to somebody or hand it off. But Dylan was not the guy that's going to keep the ball and, pick up a big chunk where, we saw a little bit in the, spring game, how electric, Colandrea can be. And we've seen it on this highlight reel too. So I think it's an upgrade schematically. I think, Dylan probably has better arm talent wise. But, Colandrea, I think he's just going to be better just for what Dana Holgorsen wants in this offense.
Yeah, that's a good take. I don't know. I always have this thing in my head. I remember when Dylan Raiola was a freshman, we were at Ohio State, and he had that long scramble run. And it was like, thank you, Jesus, he has legs, right? And it was like a 30-yard run. And eventually got hawked out, right, because he's slow. But or pushed out of bounds, whatever it was. But you're like, he has legs. That felt great. But with Anthony Colandrea, that's like a threat every play. He can take it 60 yards to the house. And, in the blink of an eye, if the defense is in man coverage and they're not looking, he's going to run down the field and go pick up 10 yards. And just they have to account for that. So, I think that can be a difference maker in these games that you're kind of, can Nebraska win? Can they not? And then also it makes us a bigger threat in these upcoming games that we'll get talking about afterwards. But, so I think we all have the win on with Maryland here. So then Indiana comes to town. I'd be curious to hear what you guys have to say about that because obviously they're coming off the national championship here and they are for real.
Yeah,
I will.
Elliot.
I will say if we start off 5-0, how the national media goes. Nebraska probably will be ranked going into this game.
Absolutely.
And we'll probably have some big matchup, and we will get absolutely rocked on national television.
So you're saying 2024 again is going to happen?
Yep.
It was we got ranked the week before Indiana, I do believe, and then what did it end up 59-7 or whatever?
Yeah, it's probably going to find a way to be worse. I mean, this isn't even a diss against us. Kurt Signetti has a money now, which just makes him 100 times scarier. And I'm just scared to actually walk into the gates of Memorial Stadium that day. And I'm even more scared for our offense. And I just hope there's no injuries because they are going to get killed on that field.
And I'll add one thing.
Yeah.
Our only slight chance of victory at this game is if Josh Hoover comes into next season and hasn't fixed his turnover problem. That is our only slight chance.
Sure.
Yeah.
But that's I thought it was super interesting. Oh, go ahead, Elliot. If you got something, go.
I mean, like, I guess if Nebraska plays a decent game, we only lose by 2 scores, 1 score. There's progress there
That's a win.
because
Whoa,
If we
one
don't
score
have-
loss. There's so much progress with a one score
I'd
loss.
rather lose by
man.
3 touchdowns than 1.
yeah, I mean, if I would.
It's
Okay,
close.
that's actually true. I actually kind of agree with that. Rather losing by 3 than 1, because at least I'm not on the edge of my seat the entire game just to get let down once again. So
Exactly.
Fair. Okay, so there's not much of a discussion on that one. Obviously, we think we're not feeling very good about the defending national champions, but Oregon has been vulnerable in the past. Iowa obviously is a program that's head and shoulders above Nebraska. In the past 10 years, win-loss wise, but they played Oregon really tight last year, and I want to say that game was at Oregon.
No,
Maybe
it
I'm
was.
wrong.
It
Oh,
was,
no.
it was at home, and
it was in
Was it at
Kansas
home?
City.
yeah,
Okay.
I if it was
On the
at
road,
home,
I will say
maybe.
it's tough. Yeah. Okay. That's a
Yeah.
good take. That's a good take. Going out to Eugene's going to be tough. I always feel like you hear how loud the stadium there is, but I don't even really think it matters that much. Oregon just is at a point right now where their recruiting is significantly better than Nebraska's. Their financial backing is significantly better than Nebraska's, and honestly, their coaching is better than Nebraska's. So, yeah, I don't know. Does anybody else have a take on that?
Let's just get to
That's
Washington.
some reason for optimism.
Money talks. All right, let's get to Washington.
Yeah, let's get to Washington.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Whoever wants to take it.
All right. All I gotta say, you got the blackout, Halloween night, probably a ranked opponent coming into Lincoln, Nebraska. Give me Matt Rule's. I think this is his first ranked win as a Nebraska Cornhusker. It is
Ooh,
happening
okay.
this year. We will beat Washington by 2 scores at home.
Two
And
scores.
everyone's gonna go home happy after the blackout on Halloween night. They're gonna go out there and they're gonna party at all the Halloween parties and have a blast because Nebraska football is back and they just won a ranked game. Bang!
I couldn't
So-
disagree more.
Yeah, Lincoln's gonna black out after the blackout night, right? So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Will, what do you got to
Okay.
say, man? I know you have a loss there.
Okay, I'm not gonna get in too many statistics here, but I'll just say in all my years of being a Nebraska football fan, one thing has always been true: let down. In all these recent years, even going into USC last year, that blackout, I was so hyped. I had plans that night. I was gonna watch Nebraska with my friends. They disappointed me, and that was my breaking point. After that, I can't go into this game confidently saying Matt Rule is going to pick up his first ranked win. And I want that to not be true.
yeah. Okay.
I know we're
ends of the
I
spectrum.
know we're trying to move on from last year, but I will say I think we win that game if Raiola doesn't get hurt. That's just my personal opinion. But like you're saying, letdown. Nebraska found a way to lose that game. Their starting quarterback found a way to break his ankle and lose the game. So I don't know what
That was actually all Dylan's fault too, because it was a run play called when 2 receivers set and he audibled to a pass.
Oh, that's
play.
right. You're
Took a
right.
sack.
You're actually right.
So it was actually 100%.
no blame on Turner Cochran there, or
Dylan sat in the pocket for like 10 seconds that play, didn't he?
And I'm pretty sure
I
he did.
don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I can't remember. Yeah, regardless, I think you're right. I think Nebraska was in control of that game almost, I would say, against USC, and they were up in the what was it?
It was
before
right after
halftime
an
there?
interception too. Like we just got a pick, and then
Yeah.
we were down there, and then he fumbled.
We were going
I believe we started the drive in their territory.
Yeah,
and,
we were at their
had a
30. I
chance-
think we were about to go up 2 scores if we scored, and then we.
Yeah. A touchdown would have gave you a 2-possession lead. So yeah, it's crazy to see that. Obviously, the result of that, when you lose your starting quarterback, it's obviously never a good thing. But like just to see that you're up against a ranked team, I think surely USC was ranked at the time. I do believe, but you're up and you're leading at home against a ranked team, and then you go and lose. What was that? The next 3 games, all by 20 points.
They
Damn
had
near it felt
one
like
win
so.
at UCLA, but that was
Yeah, we beat
Oh, you're
UCLA.
right. You're
because
right.
I was there, so that's why I cared about it. That was like the
Yes,
first
they
round.
did
That's when
rebound.
everyone
And
got
TJ
on
looked
the
great.
TJ Lateef train.
Yes,
because
you're
he
right.
threw 2 screen passes at Emmett Johnson. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
The pass what I just said.
No, you're good. Does anybody else have anything about this Washington game?
I mean, sorry, still to stay on the USC point, I guess.
Oh, you're good.
If Dylan doesn't get hurt and we win that game, just think of the guys who are probably still here. Raiola is probably still here. His uncle's probably still here.
Ooh.
because we're gonna win that game in the momentum carrying through. I don't know if you can fire Donovan Raiola and Dylan Raiola stays here. I know like some people think that it was not really correlated, but I don't really know.
Oh, it
Yeah, I
definitely-
agree. I'm in the same boat.
It's
I'd be curious to hear you guys on this. Emmett Johnson had a year left of eligibility. If he believed the program was in a better place, do you think he would have came back? I mean, with maybe a win right there, does that do it?
He
I
could
don't
have
know.
pulled Amir. I mean, that's what Amir did. He had a draft option. He could have left in 2013. He came back at a record year. I mean, he 100% could have, but I hate to be that guy who's the bearer of bad news, but I think he just knew where this year was going to go, and he's like, I don't want to ruin my draft stock. So
Yeah, it's valid. Okay, where
He'll
we
have
at
an improved
after-
outline if he stayed, but
we're at
Yeah.
Illinois now.
Well, if they had the money to buy the
True.
offensive line when keeping him at the same time, which I
true.
think is an
That's
interesting
fair
talking
point.
point.
Fair point.
So I don't know. There's always a give and a take to everything, but obviously Nebraska. Matt Rule thought they had enough money, and it kind of seems like maybe they didn't because everyone else got more money. So you're not the only school that's getting a bigger financial backing every offseason. So okay, where are we at? We're at Illinois here. Does everyone have us a loss? Yes, we do. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I think this is a game that is super, super, super winnable. But obviously, who's there? Bielema's still there. And, he's a good coach. He's been around the Big Ten since Will's been alive, dang near, probably.
Yeah.
It seems like so. He's been around forever and he knows what he's doing. So yeah, it's just their way of playing directly attacks Nebraska's weaknesses. And yeah, I think it's a tough spot on the road there. But if anybody has anything, a slight reason for optimism in this game, go ahead.
I got it. I'll be there, so there's a chance because I'll be there. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll
It's
say
not
some-
like it's like David and Goliath, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, this is
a
winnable.
game,
This is winnable.
right. Yeah.
I think they're gonna win one of Washington and Illinois, but I didn't want to put both
Me
of
too.
them down as wins. So
Yeah. Okay. That's
I'll
valid.
say this. I know I didn't say it, but I think if Nebraska beats Washington, this is like the most trap game of all. So I'll just go on that note.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good.
I guess I'll add.
Go ahead.
I'll add
Sorry.
that their quarterback is Caden Hauser. I think that's who their quarterback's gonna be this year. Transferred in
How's where
from
that is.
East Carolina. I mean, he doesn't have crazy numbers. 300 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
I'll tell you what, though, he's a dog on a college football 26 because I did a lot of Eastern Carolina dynasties, and he's a dog. So
Eastern Carolina. What is that? The Pirates?
yeah,
The Pirates.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so I mean, yes, they have a chance in this game, right? Like it's not like everyone's picking them to lose by 14 or anything like that. It's just like you're trusting Matt Rule or Brett Bielema, and it's like, who do you want to take, right? So okay, so we'll move on from that, and then what are we at? Rutgers now, and everyone has a win. I think this is really straightforward. If you lose that Illinois game, you absolutely need to bounce back. Against Rutgers, it's a bottom of the barrel team in the Big Ten, and you need to prove that you're not a bottom of the barrel big team.
You've never lost to
Big
them.
Ten team.
Yeah,
Never lost to them.
yeah.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. So Nebraska historically has a great record against them. So I don't know. Is there any reason that Nebraska couldn't win this game for anybody?
I'll say one thing.
Oh, you got it, Will.
I will say the last couple matchups between Rutgers and Nebraska have been super close matchups. Nebraska's actually come out of their way and found ways to win close games solely against Rutgers. So the only way I could really see them losing is if this is a close game and Rutgers finally gets Nebraska's number. But
Sure.
that's really my only.
It always does seem like Rutgers has like one or two kids that, every year that are just like punching above their weight class, like on the offensive side of the ball. I can't remember who their running back was when Nebraska
Monaghan or something like that.
Kyle Mononga.
Yeah.
He's the Bears.
Yeah, Kyle Mononga. He was great, and then it's just, it just seems like every other year they either have a wide receiver or a running back that's just an above average Big Ten back, and then they turn out to be really, really good in the NFL as well. So it could be a trap game for sure, but you need to win it, and then especially going into Ohio State next at home. That's a beast of a game. So.
Yeah, I have a little thing to say there.
Yeah,
I feel
go ahead.
like if you were to still not have that 6th win by now, so you haven't beaten Washington or Rutgers, is it crazy to say the sellout streak is in danger in this game? Because you have 5 wins going into these last 2 games, and it's
Who wants
Ohio
to waste their
State
money?
and Iowa, who, is it crazy to say the sellout streak may fall here if we're not doing high enough?
Yeah, that's valid. Because what are we at right now? Like theoretically, you'd be that's the 9th game, so you're like either 4-4 or 5-3, depending on maybe how everyone picked here. So you're about a 500
5-5, I
team.
think.
You're not ranked. You're not ranked at that point with probably
I think
either
he's
one
talking
of
Big
those
Ten.
records, I would imagine.
Okay.
Sorry, what were you saying?
We're talking Big Ten record or overall record?
No, overall, right? Isn't
That'd
Ohio
be the
State up
11th
9th?
game.
That's the 11th game.
That's
Oh,
gonna
we
be
already
11,
that
yeah.
deep? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so
So
you're
from
right. Yeah.
Point still
All
stands.
right. I don't know what the heck I was thinking. Okay, so
Still-
regardless, you're floating around that bowl eligibility right there. You're not expected to win, but just don't get blown out. It can't be. When was that? Like 2019 when it was 62-3 or whatever the score ended up.
2016.
That was but they also had, I think it was 2018 or 2019. It was Harris Frost's first or second year. They had a college
Sure.
game day here, and it was like 56-7. Like,
Yeah, that can't happen. That can't happen,
Exactly.
especially with the 2027 recruiting class that you're trying to set up here. If you show that to recruits, they're not going to come to Nebraska.
because we're gonna be competing against Ohio State for some of them too, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So you need to at least show you're in the ballpark to where, a player like eventually, like we'll talk about with Ahmad Hudson here, feels comfortable saying like, hey, if I come here, I can get us over the edge in that recruitment. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a big game just for a respect thing. But yeah, I guess moving on to Iowa here, it's on the road again. Nebraska has not had success against Iowa at all since really Bo Pelini left. Did everyone pick? Oh, no. Okay. We're 50-50 here, so I'd be interesting to hear. Why don't you go, Elliot, and give us why you believe Nebraska is going to pull out a win?
Well, I think Nebraska is gonna beat Iowa every year. And I've been wrong every year except for the 1 year Mickey Joseph was here. Or I've been right, I mean. You guys know what I mean. But yeah. I mean, I'm kind of, they had Mark Gronowski last year, and for the little threat he was as a passer, I mean, they didn't need it. That's not the style of football that Iowa plays. They're not going to be the team that puts up 50 points on you. And they put up 40 against Nebraska. So Gronowski, I mean, they're taking a step back at quarterback. I think one of them is Hank Brown, was a transfer from Auburn, and they had another guy transferred in from Wake Forest last year. And I mean, they really haven't done anything in college yet. I mean, it's a big question mark there. But again, I mean, they beat us with a 4-string quarterback, walk-on linebacker, whatever it was 2 years ago. So, I mean, Iowa could throw anybody out there, and Nebraska finds a way to lose. So, which is crazy because I picked us to win this game, and I'm saying this. So, I mean, I'm just hoping that we can get over the hump here, I guess.
It's aggravating. Just and the tough thing is like when you go back and watch that Iowa game, it was like half the time Mark Gronowski was throwing routes on air. Like he was their tight ends found a way to get open 30 yards down the field. No one was even close in coverage. And it's like, how many times are you going to let them do that? So for me, it was super, super annoying because Mark Gronowski came from South Dakota State. I graduated from South Dakota. So I'm like, I already had to watch this kid for 3 years while I was in college. And then all of a sudden, he comes to Iowa, who's the next, who's the worst team, that I'm not a fan of. So I don't know. It is what it is. But I think they can win the game. It's at Iowa City. Iowa fans absolutely suck, and they do not like Nebraska fans at all. But it'll be an opportunity for Matt Rule's first win, against Iowa. So I guess Brody and Elliot, or sorry, Brody and Will, why don't you guys talk us through why you think they're going to lose?
Yeah, so I was at that previous game at Iowa. I sold my student ticket last year actually for the home game because just didn't have much hope, I'll be honest. But I was at that last away game there, and I witnessed the Dylan Raiola fumble during the 2-minute drill and then the game-winning field goal, of course. And there's just something about Iowa City. I don't know how Mickey Joseph won there. I don't know what happened that day, but there was just some magic happening. But I just don't see us winning in Iowa City. Like, obviously, I want us to beat Iowa. I hate them, and Matt Rule needs his first win against Iowa, but I just don't think Matt Rule's first win against Iowa would be in Iowa City. I think the only chance for him to beat Iowa is at home. So
I actually disagree with you, Brody. I mean, it's only happened twice, but Nebraska's last 2 wins against Iowa were in Iowa City, and I don't know why. Like, I just think I'm still picking us to lose, but I think us being in Iowa City might help us a little bit from that standpoint, maybe. But I think truly this game is going to come down to how well Rob Ulrich has turned around this defense. Because, like, the fact that they allowed 40 points to Iowa last year at home is just, like, makes me want to vomit right now. Like, that's just sickening. So hopefully Rob Ulrich can even cut that in half, and Nebraska will have a chance. Still don't have us winning that game, but we'll see.
Yeah, that's a good pick. Okay. Okay, so what did everyone finish up here? We went Will, I believe you're at 5-7, and then Elliot, you're at 8-4, and then me and Brody are somewhere in between. So there's a little bit of a range here, but I mean, they need to get a bowl game. They need to get to a bowl game, and honestly, it would help a lot, for the future if they were closer to Elliot's 8-4 than anything else. So
I have a quick thing, just like a question for everybody. So, we have, 3 big dogs in the schedule: Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State. If this is a successful season, what do you think like a score would be? Like, how many points do you think Nebraska is losing by in those games? Or, even if they pull one out, like, what do you think it would mean to be a successful year? Like, what a score against those teams?
Okay, so I have a counter question for you. What do you think a win total for a successful year would be for this year?
6.
8 or 9.
It's
crazy to say
Elliot,
that.
my
So
question
8 or
to
9, you need to win one of those games.
Is it 8, like 7 with a win in the bowl game to get to 8, or what are you saying?
Okay,
like
so
regular season. We're just purely talking regular season.
I think it's counting a bowl win, and I'm saying
so you get to 7-5 plus a win.
Yeah, and I'm saying like 8 wins or maybe even 9. It's year 4 of Matt Rule. If you're gonna say we're gonna win 6 games, that's a successful year. Fire Matt Rule, because I'm sorry that
you're
was
Rutgers. You're Rutgers.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're Rutgers.
Yep.
So yeah, I agree. I would say, what did you say? You need to get to 8.
8 wins. I'd say 8 wins.
8 wins. Either way. So like 7 with a win in the bowl game, that's fine. Because I agree. I think 7 with a win in a bowl game is fine. But obviously, if you do another 7-6 here, it's like you haven't gotten anywhere from year
progress.
2 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just not a lot to sell. So and it sounds so stupid to say that 8-4 as opposed to, or at that point 8-5 as opposed to 7-6 is so different, but it is, like, from a recruiting standpoint, from a fan base standpoint too. Like, just they haven't won 8 games since 2016. So get to that point, and that's you need to get to that point, I guess. So that's what I'd say. I'd say 8-2. But Will, you have us not going to a bowl game. What's the worst case scenario? Because obviously theoretically your best case scenario is 5-7. What's the worst case scenario for you?
Well, I'm not gonna. I don't think our best case scenario is 5-7. I'll say that, but I think our worst case scenario, I'll say like 4-8. I'll say like I think we win a Big Ten game, but I'll kind of counteract that with our ceiling. I think our ceiling this year is 9-3, and I know that's such a big swing, but I mean, crazier things have happened. Like Indiana, they went from the bottom of college football to the national champs. So, I mean, anything can happen. Nebraska's not making the playoffs next year, I'll tell you that. But
yeah. Fair. Okay, if that wraps that up, Elliot, we'll go ahead and get started on Ahmad Hudson here. So I'll kind of let you take this away because you maybe just are a little bit more well versed on it. But overall, Nebraska, made the top 2 for Ahmad Hudson, who's the number 1 tight end of the country, and he's a top 30 basketball player in the 2027 class as well. Generational athlete. He's one of those like 5-star gems that you see on the NCAA football game that you're like, this kid I cannot miss, right? So Nebraska has a chance to land him, and it would be program changing type of a scenario if they were to sign him. So just, go ahead and talk a little bit on that.
Yeah, I got quite a few things here. I think I posted it in my, channel on Instagram, or I posted it somewhere, but there was a bunch of things coming out that he was going to commit sooner, which he is committing sooner, but it's not going to be like a spring timeline. I think he's still going to make those OVs to LSU and Nebraska, and then he's going to make a decision. He's not going to wait till July 4th.
Sure.
And when that news came out, it seemed like it was LSU. I talked to even an LSU guy, and he said it was a done deal. And then, this last week, since, everything's died down a little bit, some, Nebraska reporters are saying that Nebraska's in the lead. And I really don't have a great read on it. I feel like Nebraska's not in the lead. Just if you look at it from if you just look at the timeline, Hudson hasn't been here since the USC game. He didn't make it in for a spring visit. And usually the formula is you get a guy in for a spring visit once or twice, you get him in for the OV, and that's when you lock him up. And we didn't get him in for a single spring visit. So especially a guy like this, where he's from Louisiana, it'd be crazy. I mean, him and Trey Taylor have an unreal friendship and relationship. And I think, he has a great relationship with the staff as well. And Fred Hoiberg's doing a great job in this recruitment too. We can't forget about that. Yeah. I really just don't. I just don't have a great feel. I feel like LSU is going to win out here. I feel like that was always my feel, even when Nebraska was for sure leading this recruitment in November. I just felt like even if we got that commitment, LSU would find a way near signing day to pull a flip off. I just feel like it's going to be really hard to pull this guy out of Louisiana.
Yeah, I agree. I actually wrote a story about it last week, and I in my opinion, it's so weird because I don't even think it's necessarily about money for him by any means. His dad played basketball at LSU. He's, obviously he lives in Louisiana. It's just hard. It's like they've had more recent success as a program and honestly both sports, to be honest. Ben Simmons was a #1 draft pick in 2016, I think. And they won a national championship in 2019 in college, in football. So it's when you're talking about a team that hadn't been to a bowl game in 7 years and a basketball team that until this year had never won, an NCAA tournament game. It's like when you're comparing those two, it's just hard to say that Nebraska is even anywhere near that level of LSU. But, Trey Taylor has such a good relationship with him that, maybe they can pull it out. They've been on him forever. There's definitely reason to be optimistic about it. It's just hard. In my opinion, it's really hard to say that Nebraska is in lead at this point, knowing that he hasn't been there since November. But I mean, who knows? Regardless, they have a chance. And even if he commits somewhere, signing day is until December. So Nebraska could still have a chance to get him back on campus for an OV. If for whatever reason it doesn't happen this summer or whatever, he could come in the fall and, they could have a chance to steal him away at the end of the cycle here. So, okay, I guess, do you have any more comments on that? Otherwise we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I guess I'll say, the in-home visit period is right now. So I haven't seen an in-home visit for Ahmad Hudson. I assume they will do that. If they don't, it'll be a red flag to me because,
absolutely.
They're making in-home visits to all kinds of targets right now. And they just made a visit to Caden Howard today, who is a wide receiver commit who's, been flirting around some other schools. So I feel like you definitely need to make a visit to Ahmad Hudson, show him that you are, really care about this guy, especially, when it's a 2-team battle here. So hopefully they get an in-home visit with Ahmad Hudson and, get him in for that OV this summer. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys, that'll do it for us. Thank you for tuning in. And I guess get ready for that blackout win like Brody was suggesting there. So thanks for tuning in. This is Skers Scoop. We'll see you in the next one.